Hello everyone, and welcome once again to SALCC Updates, where we bring you news on the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And today we have in feature the recently held art competition and exhibition organized by the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in collaboration with the Organization of American States, the OAS. And this was done in an annual celebration that is done by the OAS for people of African descent in the Americas. And we celebrated that when they approached us to make this activity more meaningful, more rich by organizing two activities. The first activity was a lecture that was delivered by Principal Dr. Keith Nurse, and the topic of that lecture was carnivals, social movements, festivals, and the diaspora. And that is still available on our website, so you can go on, watch that lecture delivered by Dr. Keith Nurse, which really explored the identity of people of African descent in the Americas and how they celebrate their identity through such festivals. The other activity we launched in April, and that was a visual arts competition, and all artists from St. Lucia were approached by someone you will meet in a very short time to participate in this competition, and we followed that up with an exhibition on May 26th and the 27th and extended that in the following week. And to make this a reality, we did not anticipate all the work that was involved, but thankfully we did have on board with us throughout the competition and exhibition, the founder of Me Curator. Her name is Buki Kahin, and she's here with me in studio this afternoon. We're going to talk to her a little bit about her involvement in this process, and thereafter we will bring you some highlights of the ceremony to start off the exhibition, as well as interviews from the artists and from patrons to the exhibition. So be sure to stay tuned to the end. And now I want to welcome Buki Kahin. Thank you for joining me here today, Buki.
Thank you.
Yes. So it was the very first time that the college even tried to put in an exhibition and realized it was quite involved. So we're really grateful that you came on board. Let us start off by just telling our audience a little bit about you and your involvement in art in particular.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my history is in history of art. Originally born in Nigeria, so African roots, but grew up in the UK and was educated in the UK in history of art. So my knowledge of visual culture has always been there for quite some time. And having lived now in St. Lucia and being quite pivotal in making a great space for artists, young and old, to exhibit their work from my brand, Me Curator, I was reached out to by Sir Arthur Lewis and the OAS to embark in this very large challenge, a great theme, but definitely a project worthy of a curator.
Yes, great. So tell us a little bit about your involvement from the inception. I mean, all we did was really design that poster. We knew where we wanted to go with it, the theme Stories of Courage in the Americas. Tell us what happened thereafter.
Thereafter, I always want to work with the theme very closely. So I took the theme and I done my research initially. That's where I always begin. Having African roots, it was quite easy to kind of go through my textbooks and through my research and really ensure that I was reconnecting myself with the theme. Meetings were held about logistics and dates and ideas and so forth. So we agreed upon a date, and we would realize it's going to be very much a requirement to involve St. Lucia as a whole. So the requirement was broad. It was a case of let's make sure we have everyone involved, from all age group as well as all categories. So we had painting, we had photography, digital art, and also sculpture and ceramic, practical ceramic work as well was also portrayed.
Yes, so it really mushroomed, because I think our initial intention was really to have an art competition among our students, and I think definitely we saw, given the theme and the celebration that we wanted to do of people of African descent, it was necessary to broaden it. And apart from just advertising it, I know you were key in actually reaching out to artists that you had been in touch with. Just so that you give us a little background of the kind of work that you had done before that gave you that kind of connection. We'd like to talk about that for us.
Absolutely. So my experience both in St. Lucia, the UK, and also in America has allowed me to put together exhibitions, knowing full what it entails, the length of time you need to spend researching a topic, with the funding and so forth, the budget aspect of it, of being a curator, and also the networking. So without the art, there is no curator. My role is to tell the story, and for that I need the narratives, and that is the artwork and how that comes to me. And many people saw the advert. Sir Arthur Lewis were very, very active in promoting the exhibition. But you know how it is. You always just need to have a sense of word of mouth and call people, and also in a way kind of encourage people and encourage artists. So I did do my research, and again went through social media and called artists and artist friends and said, hey, are you aware of this exhibition? Here is the theme. Can you partake? And the usual questions would come about, and then you have the questions, the interest, the excitement, actually, because the thought of it being a competition, but also an exhibition, then is when we are all kind of engaged into the whole momentum of it.
So in terms of the artists who responded, can you tell us just in terms of the range and whether they all participated in the competition, or did some of them just participate in the exhibition?
So we had a mixture of individuals who initially were keen, they had their films ready, they had their artwork complete, it was a theme that they were impassioned about immediately. And then you had a few artists who, who liked the idea and who wanted a bit more clarification, a bit more, I would say, texture around what it meant and how they could express themselves. So then that involves my engagement a bit further. And then there's also the artists who were a lot more established, a lot more senior, who had artwork which actually harks back to a time when the issues that we were addressing were still heavily prevalent. And so we had a mixture of artwork being brought to you. And I was really able to ensure that, firstly, the collation of information, the admin behind it, the email addresses, the social media pages, the description, the artist's bio, a headshot. A few artists were quite keen and new to this, that they didn't know they would need a bio or to create a video or to create a short portfolio. So that assistance as well was also part of it.
Right. So it tells me that you had novices, persons who had probably never, ever participated in a competition or exhibition, and the more established ones. Based on your interactions with them, and I mean, the judging has happened, so we already have the winners. Can you speak to any new ones who probably stood out to you, who made an impact, and even the established ones who were willing to participate, not necessarily to compete, but to showcase the work that they felt was in line with the theme?
Yes, there was a range of new artists, really, really a range, and individuals whose names, I had not heard of, and I've been trying to source new artists in St. Lucia for a while, so to name but a few. Alana Jean, we also have Sherry Charlemagne, we have Peter Fevrier, we have Cleo Fitz, and the list does truly go on. There were over 40 participants in the exhibition, again, established, and also those who were less established. But with that, you also had individuals who were able to help the younger artists. So we had Arnold Toulon, we had Alvin St. Omer, we had Kirk Elliott, and a few other mature artists who were able to really lend their creativity, their time, their energy, and their effort to assist, and also to actually complement the work that we did show within the exhibition.
Okay, great. So we put out the call, and you did all of the follow-up and administrative work. And then when the deadline came, we had now to receive this art and to organize a space where you could properly showcase this art, and you were limited to the rooms that we had at the college. So tell us a little bit about just how that worked out for you.
Absolutely. With a curator, one of the things that I will always do is scope the space. The space will give me a good percentage of what I can do with that space. Sir Arthur Lewis had a fantastic space upstairs in the Innovation Hub, and that was a great space to use. There was a slight limitation because there was just simply the walls. So as you enter, you will see a very large conference room, green walls. However, there were no individual partitions, which allow us to, again, highlight a few pieces and also create an atmosphere where you can walk around and engage and at times even interact with the pieces. So that required the maintenance team there at Sir Arthur Lewis. Thank you again for your time. They were very instrumental in creating what I like to call forced partitions, which really allow for a great way to showcase visual art and also ceramic and also some craft pieces, because it allows for an interchange of the work on those platforms and those plinths.
So you were able to transform that space with the help of the maintenance team.
Yes, absolutely. And we also added, the indigenous part of St. Lucia, using the madras to decorate the room, and it was very complimentary, and it wasn't. It just simply flowed and allowed the space to be really more integrated, and definitely warming for such a very heavy topic as well.
Yes, so we're going to have our viewers view that space. We're going to show them some visuals in a bit. Were there any particular requirements from some of the artists? Because like you say, you had the ceramics, etc. It wasn't just paintings.
Yes.
You had the digital art, which you also had to display. You had the ceramics, which you had to display. Tell us how you were able to accomplish that.
Absolutely. So with it being a mixed exhibition and a group exhibition across 4 genres, we had to work with Sir Arthur Lewis and the OAS and our sponsors to ensure we were showcasing all of the artwork the best as we could. So we had the paintings on the walls and on the plinths. We also had the digital artwork and the photography on a TV projected. We also had the sculpture and ceramic functional artwork that was definitely a new experience for me to work with such delicate pieces, because I believe the fragility of the artwork speaks about the fragility of the theme itself. And so we had a great piece by Amanda Murphy, and that piece talked about what our ancestors conveyed to us. Now, this was a very, in my eyes, a very humbling piece, because it was made in a very fragile way. It had the cufflinks and it had the chains. And so I was concerned about showcasing it, but also not having it, what would I say? Broken, to simply put. So I wanted to ensure that the work wasn't it wasn't hidden away, but it was also in a space where you could engage with it with good lighting and also kind of a good trajectory in terms of what you were also seeing on that placement within the actual room itself.
So these are a lot of considerations that you have to give.
Yes, absolutely. And with each artwork, you realize that it means a lot more than just a painting or a piece of sculpture or a digital art form. It means so much more to the artists and the creatives. And for them to allow me to tell that story with their artwork is a great joy. And so I do take my time and ensure that I do, within the constraints and the time period and the space, do my best to honor the artwork that I'm given to showcase.
And as you mentioned, the time constraints, I think it was just about a month that the artists were given in the time that we advertised.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
the deadline. How did that work out for the artists and you?
Yes, it was a month. I believe it was around April, and then the exhibition was at the end of May. So when you think of the creative process, the time, the situations with people who have to also work full time, it is not a long time to create a piece of artwork. And we had submissions small all the way to very large pieces, using a mixture of artwork, a mixture of materials, oil, acrylic, charcoal, crayons, obviously clay as well. So these things all take time to mature, to prove in the oven, to get the right kind of skin tone. This all does take time. So when you are asking artists to produce work, you're also challenging them to meet a deadline. It was a competition, so there were going to be winners. You had to meet a brief, you had to be judged upon that, and also you had to present your work in a favourable way, because I want to also highlight the best of you as an artist. And for that, I need your work brought to me in the best capacity as well. So,
great. And okay, just finally, tell us about the importance, especially given what we've been through in the last 2 or 3 years, where everything was almost like, I guess, on a hiatus, that we weren't able to express, to exhibit. Tell us about the importance of such events, such exhibitions for artists in St. Lucia.
Absolutely. The beauty of this collaboration with Sir Arthur Lewis and the OAS and our sponsors was there was also a launch night. And we had absolutely an amazing experience. We had drummers. We had an amazing St. Lucian band who were represented by Nija and Esther and the rest of his drummers. We had some poetry from the young speakers at Sir Arthur Lewis, and we also had just a real engagement from all the individuals around St. Lucia who are aware of the importance of culture. It's a great way to tell the story. It doesn't ever end. It has to be retold again and again for the youth, for the young individuals of the island, of our culture, whether they're here in St. Lucia or overseas. It really is important that we continue to highlight how art and culture is a way to tell the message.
And I know I said finally, but you were there over the 3 days or so that we had the exhibition. What was the interaction like with the patrons who came in to view?
It was delightful. It was very positive. It was engaging. It was challenging as well, because not everyone would agree with what was put up. So there had to be understanding that this was a group art exhibition. We had to showcase art, artwork from young artists as young as 12, all the way through to more senior. And so not everything was going to be perfect, but we definitely ensured that it was a space for artwork to be seen and for people to be able to access, come to and experience the artwork on display.
Okay, thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I really want to thank you on behalf of the college for partnering with us on putting on this exhibition. And I hope we have future collaborations where we can really exhibit the talent of St. Lucia.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Buki. Stay with us. When we come back, we will take highlights of the opening ceremony. We will hear from the artists, some of the patrons, and we will tell you who the winners of the art exhibition was. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, I'm really interested in how you could just take a blank piece of paper and turn it into something beautiful. I like that when you pass the brush on the canvas, you really feel something. You just light something up inside of you. Well, I really enjoyed the artworks. They're really creative, from the nail piece over there to the sculptures and the pieces behind me. They all touched me in some kind of way. It was the one by Peter Fevrier called Traversy. The way the black background made the white and yellow pop, it just stood out to me.
I really liked the art pieces. They were cool. Some they spoke to me more than others because relatable business in the past and whatnot. Some were different. The diversity between them, you can actually catch your own vibes and feelings depending on what you relate to from each and every single one of them. I rather work with the pen and the paper than like online or painting, when I join, I feel like I have proper control of what I'm going to do and how it's supposed to come out. I like this piece because the theme being unity is stronger than slavery. It reminds me of when I was younger. Most times I used to be troublesome, and then my grandfather used to tell me like to stay inside, and then my time expire and whatnot. But then looking at it now, realize that even like as a small thing, people going through that, it doesn't come close to what you went through. Even if they tell you stay inside, your friends outside, whatever they went through, it doesn't come close to what we went through. So I really like that piece, and it also showed me that even growing up where I had less than other children, just having fun times by the river and going around and just picking mangoes and doing river activities, it was an enjoyable experience.
Okay, I am Giovanni Jamari. I am a visual arts and accounting teacher at the Growth Comprehensive Secondary School. I teach visual arts to the Form 4s and 5s, and I think it was a good opportunity for the students, especially after having been shut in for 2 years with COVID, to come out to see art and to widen their horizon in terms of the visual arts. I think they really appreciated. I'm seeing the versatility of St. Lucians, seeing some of the things that they do every day with the acrylic paints coming to life. I think they really benefited from it, and hopefully it would inspire them in working on their SVs, that sort of thing. I liked a piece by Junette Alexander. It reminds us of who we are as Afro-Caribbean people, but more so not to diminish us, but to empower us. And I think a lot of the time we look at slavery as the negative aspect, but we are strong, right? We are here because we are the descendants of the survivors and the richness of our history. I think going to exhibitions like this always reminds me of that, and it more or less empowers me, makes me feel more empowered. So definitely allowing St. Lucians any sort of avenue to express their creativity, I think is very important. And more so the artists, especially the painters and so forth, do not often get the attention like maybe some of the other artists around. So these sort of platforms are always important. And I think the theme is one that is worthwhile, especially in this time. While we're in 2020, there's so much happening to people of color, Black people around the world. With when you look at what recently happened in Ukraine, with how the Black students were treated differently, and almost in every part of the world, people of color are somewhat suppressed. And I think any opportunity to show the resilience of us as a people, the strongness of us as a people, and our creativity altogether, definitely an awesome venture.
Welcome back to SALCC Updates. We have been speaking about the recently organized visual arts exhibition and competition that was organized by the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in collaboration with the Organization of American States, the OAS, and supported by the founder of Me Curator, Ms. Buki Kahane, who we just spoke with about her experience in organizing this exhibition. Right now, what we want to do is, for those of you who missed it, we want to bring you some highlights of the exhibition because we know everybody wasn't able to take it in. So that was the opening ceremony, which was held on the evening of May 26th at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, where we had some of our sponsors, our judges, some of the artists, and some invited guests. And now I want to feature the the judges for the competition. And we were quite happy to have them on board, some very established artists and some other just renowned individuals in the society. We had Cook Elliott, Alwyn St. Omer, Finola Jennings Clark, Nash Seaman, Ermi Prasad, and Calix George Jr. So they had the task of judging the various elements of the competition. And as you heard earlier from Buki Kahane, it was in 4 genres, in painting, digital art, sculpture, and photography. So they had the responsibility of deciding who the winners of that competition were. And I will give you the results in just a minute. Before I do that, I really want to pay tribute to the sponsors for the competition who came up with the prizes for the different areas. And we had quite a few companies come on board, and I'd just like to recognize one of our biggest sponsors was Lucia, who came on board in a big way to get the art exhibition going. In particular, we incurred a number of costs that we didn't anticipate, being our first time that we were putting on the exhibition. So we're very grateful to Lucia for coming on board and assisting with that. We also had St. Lucia Distillers, who were on board on the evening of the opening ceremony to provide drinks, etc. Also providing gifts and monetary prizes for the artists were the OSS Restaurant, KFC, the Le Fort Restaurant right there at South Louis Community College, Jade Mountain, the Body Holiday, Le Sport, Bay Gardens, Forever Charmed, M&C, the Landing St. Lucia, Blue Waters, Rituals Coffee House, Thermologics, and we also had an anonymous sponsor who gave a very nice monetary prize. So we want to give thanks to all the sponsors who came on board and made it worth the time of the artists who participated in the exhibition. And now I would like to announce the winners in the various categories. The first 3 places were the ones that were awarded prizes, and I will do them by genre, beginning with painting and drawing. In 3rd place, we had Sadia Vunai. In 2nd place, we had Junette Alexander. And first in the painting drawing category is Nancy Cole Auguste. That was painting and drawing. And we move now to the digital art genre. In 3rd place, we had Keitha O'Brien. In 2nd place, Alcina Nolly. And in 1st place in digital art, Peter Favre. In the category of photography, in 3rd place, Talis Gerard. 2nd place, Jamal Bruce. And the winner of the photography category was Jason Matura. And the final category was sculpture or functional ceramics. And in 3rd place, Natasha Fontenelle walked away with that sport. 2nd place went to Amanda Murphy. And the 1st place went to Michael Fabian. So congratulations to all of the winners of the first inaugural visual arts competition organized by the South Louis Community College, and we were happy to do that in collaboration with the Organization of American States as they recognize people of African descent in the Americas and their stories of courage. And we are happy that we are able to bring this to you. If you missed the exhibition, if you want to go and learn a little more about the artists who participated, you can visit our website at www.salcc.edu.lc. We will be back with you next week with some more information from the South Louis Community College. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and keep in touch with us via our social media pages and our website. Stay safe.